You're listening to the Secure Dad Podcast. Discover ways to secure your home, protect your family, and embrace your role as a protector parent. Welcome, friend. I'm Andy Murphy, the creator of The Secure Dad. This podcast serves to help families become proactive in their safety. The information I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family. Today we're going to have a talk about an uncomfortable topic, knowing the signs of the sexual predator behavior called grooming. We'll go over what to watch for so you can protect your children. All of that and more ahead on the Secure Dad Podcast. As we head into this time of year, which is affectionately called burglary season, it's time to take responsibility for your home's security, and I'm here to help you. Learn how to protect your family at home with my Amazon best-selling book, Home Security: The Secure Dad's Guide. In this book, I'll share with you tips that you can use to make your home instantly safer, and I will teach you my layered home defense strategy, which is discipline, deter, fortify, and defend. Get your copy today at Amazon when you search for The Secure Dad. Before we start the show, I want to remind you of a news story from March of this year. A 33-year-old man in Clayton County, Georgia kidnapped a 13-year-old Kansas girl that he groomed on the game Roblox. The man started chatting with the girl on February 18th and then arranged to pick her up at her home in Kansas on February 20th. So this guy spent very little time talking to this girl before he got her in person. The girl escaped after a few days of abuse and she's now okay, and the man has been arrested. Now, when the story came out, parents started banning their kids from Roblox. And it wasn't the game's fault. The game is the game. The chat feature is the chat feature. It doesn't matter if it's Twitter, Facebook, Roblox, whatever. It's how people use that feature. And I think the knee-jerk reaction from parents wasn't, while it was good for parents to be concerned, I don't think banning their kids from playing a game is the answer. Child predation has been around for a long time. And when humanity opened up the information superhighway, it happened there too. And I feel like more headlines about this particular subject come from the online world, and obviously it's a problem in real life too. So that's why you need to have the conversation with your kids about who they talk to online, what they say, and what information they give away. Don't have conversations with your kids about this once and think that it's done. Have it multiple times. Talk to them about it multiple times a week. After they get done with the gaming session, say, hey, how did it go? Who'd you talk to? Did anybody hurt your feelings? Did you say anything funny? Just kind of gauge how they were going and how, things went. And there might be something that you can key on there and talk to your kid about, good or bad. Strong kids will defend themselves and make good decisions when we aren't around to help them. So here we are at episode number 205 of this podcast. This is the first time I've specifically talked about the stages of sexual grooming behavior. In all honesty, I think I've been putting this topic off because this stuff bothers me. I've met men and women in law enforcement who deal with much worse things than this, and I don't know how they do it. So let's you and I be brave together, and let's talk about it so we can protect our kids and the kids in our community. Most resources will tell you that there are 6 stages groomers use to control a child victim. Not every groomer will follow these exact steps. People smarter than me agree, though, that they do follow this general path. The first step in grooming is choosing a victim. We have at this point a person who feels that they must, for whatever terrible reason, make sexual contact with a child. We can't help that, and we certainly can't tell that just by looking at somebody. So we have to look for behaviors that indicate their intent, and that's when we can see what a person really truly is all about. The groomer has to look for a child that they feel attracted to, that they can manipulate, and eventually control. Some general characteristics they look for are less parental involvement, like maybe a single parent, or parents who are more free range with their supervision. They also look for kids who have a low self-esteem, seem isolated already, and are insecure or needy. I think we can see that as protector parents, we need to raise strong kids who can think and act for themselves. They'll be a hard target for a groomer and be able to stand up for themselves when we're not around. In the second stage, the victim is selected, so it's time for them to gain trust. the best way groomers gain trust is to appear to be friendly and open. This does not mean that every nice person has evil intentions. It just means that groomers may not act like groomers immediately. The goal of gaining trust is to help parents and the child let their guard down. They'll ask questions and really try to get to know the child in order to help build up a profile that they can exploit. And this stage, you see the person give small gifts, take the child on a small outing, play games, and ask for secrets. For older kids, they may provide drugs or alcohol or things that parents won't provide. Once the secrets are told and the gifts are given, things are going to ramp up. The groomer will begin to ask for small favors in return, like attention and hugs, and it may seem small at first, but it will get worse. It's important to know that groomers may not work alone. Maybe their spouse or child who is under their influence will help bring another child victim into the fold. So couples can work against you too, not just single people. In stage 3, the groomer starts to feel the unique needs of their victim. They will try to create dependence for their victim by giving the child something that they can't get anywhere else, like a cell phone, a place to stay, or even emotional support. In stage 3, the groomer starts to fill the unique needs of their target. They will try and create dependence for their victim by giving the child something that they can't get anywhere else, like maybe a cell phone, a place to stay, or emotional support. If you notice a person giving your child this kind of attention, you may want to report their behavior and discontinue contact with that person. With stage 4, we see the groomer begin to isolate the child from their parents and friends. Detaching them from their support network will help the groomer gain more control over the child in ways that their young minds just can't understand. And if anybody questions the level of their relationship, the groomer will simply say things like, "Oh, they're just jealous. They're being overprotective. They don't know what they're talking about." Also in this stage, isolation is physical too. The groomer will try to get the target to an area where they can't be seen by anybody else to keep witnesses down. These locations may include a child's bedroom, a camping trip, an unoccupied room at a church, or even a car. Stage 5 is where sexual contact occurs. At this point, the hugs, tickles, kissing on the cheek, and the physical contact all increase to desensitize the child to touch. This will seem acceptable to the child as it's something that occurs regularly, even in front of other people. Now, I'm not going to go over the types of contact here, but to the victim, it won't seem odd or out of place. It may just seem like a natural progression of affection. They may not even realize that something bad has happened at first. So if a child expresses some sort of feelings about contact with an adult, you need to listen and ask questions. The final stage is maintaining control. Victims will be led to believe that what's happening with the groomer isn't unusual. They will still be asked to keep the contact secret so that nobody ends their special relationship. If victims begin to question what's happening to them, then the groomer will resort to intense psychological tactics like blaming, shaming, instilling fear, and giving them false information to retain that control. They'll make the victim believe that no one will ever listen to their story and that no one will believe them. They'll also leverage any dependency the victim has, like the gift of a cell phone or a place to stay, to maintain that control. Exploitation can last from hours to days to years. Now, a good way to teach our kids how to deal with this sort of stuff, to see it coming, and to really help them make decisions in life, we need to teach them the difference between a good secret and a bad secret. This is not my idea, but somebody smarter than me came up with teaching kids the vital difference between a secret that is good and one that is bad. Good secrets make you feel good. If your children know what you bought for your spouse for their birthday, that's a good secret. A bad secret is one that makes you feel sad, confused, or scared. A bad secret is knowing that a friend has a knife in their book bag. And even if you have older kids, this still might be a way to help them open up some. It may seem corny to them, but it may get the ball rolling. Keep in mind that grooming doesn't always start in person. In many cases, grooming starts online. Remember the story that I shared at the top of the show? Kids are online more and more, and predators are there waiting for them. Chris Hadnaggy of the Innocent Lives Foundation told us that when he was on my show. Please make sure you know who your children are talking with, especially adults, and the adults that they have close relationships with. Not every adult in your child's life has evil intentions, so remember the behaviors and the red flags to act on. If you found this episode helpful, please consider sharing it with your friends and family, because we are all in this together. Well, that's all that I have for the Secure Dad podcast for today. Thank you, friend, for listening to this important episode. I want you to take your home's defense seriously with my book, Home Security, The Secure Dad's Guide. It's available on Amazon. You can tap the link in the show notes to get your copy. I'm Andy Murphy, and until next time, take care and be secure.